They say pretty hurts. And Evangelista learned the hard way. In a bid to make herself even more beautiful, Evangelista faced the reality that we all dread. She wanted everything, but ended up losing everything. So, who is Linda Evangelista, and what happened to her? Evangelista was born in Ontario, Canada, to working-class Italian immigrants. Her dad worked at General Motors. Modeling didn't come by chance for Evangelista. She wasn't casually walking down the street when she got scouted. Her story was quite different.
I really wanted to wear fashion. I wanted to model because I was obsessed with fashion. I was obsessed with clothing, hairstyles, makeup when I was very, very young.
Evangelista showed an interest in modeling when she was just 12 years old. And that's when her parents enrolled her in a local modeling school.
I was sort of discovered in the Miss Teen Niagara pageant that my local model agency insisted I enter. I didn't do very well, but there was a scout in the audience who gave me his card. But
later, she would compete in the 1978 Miss Teen Niagara beauty pageant. Although she did not win, a talent scout from Elite Model Management took notice and signed her. This is one of the world's top modeling agencies. After being scouted, Evangelista moved to New York. But her real breakthrough came in 1984 when her agency sent her to Paris. In Paris, Evangelista was getting attention, and in 3 short years, she was already on the cover of French Vogue. She was 22 at the time. This would mark the beginning of a phenomenal career.
When I first cut my hair off and I went to Milano to do the shows, I was booked for like 20 shows. About 15 of them canceled me because they didn't understand the haircut at first.
In 1988, photographer Peter Lindbergh convinced her to cut her hair short. Bad mistake. She was canceled for several of the season's leading runway shows. You see, at the time, models had long and glamorous hairstyles. Evangelista's hair was a simple, boyish crop, and people were not having it. But within a few months, people warmed up to her, and she was back like she never left. Her hairstyle was now an inspiration to girls all over the world.
I love changing the color of my hair. It's mood uplifting, it's fun.
And now she had the confidence to keep changing up her hair. That's how she earned the name, the Chameleon. In 1989, Evangelista became the face of Versace and bagged the Revlon campaign in 1990. That's what many people remember her for. In the same year, Linda was listed as one of the 50 most beautiful people by People's Magazine. In 1990, Linda was featured with other top models like Naomi Campbell, Cindy Crawford, Tatjana Patitz, and Christy Turlington on the cover of British Vogue. These were the Big Five. Later that year, they would be chosen together for the music video of George Michael. The early 90s were really big for Evangelista. In 1991, Gianni Versace hired her, together with Campbell, Crawford, and Turlington, to walk in his couture show. And the people loved it. In fact, they loved it so much that they gave them a standing ovation. And many believe that this is around the time the word supermodel was coined. At the time, it meant a top fashion model who graced the covers of the top international magazines. Evangelista made some good money in the early 90s, and she wasn't shy talking about it either. At one point, she told Vogue, "We don't wake up for less than $10,000 a day." And that was before inflation became such a big deal. Now let me tell you why Evangelista was fetching such huge amounts of money. The industry had selected a small group of models who were known as the supers. They were worldwide celebrities, and everyone knew them by their first names.
What was it like making the Freedom video? Did you know at the time it would have such a...
no, I had no idea.
Did you have to learn the lyrics?
I didn't want to do it.
There was even a 1993 hit song called Supermodel, which mentioned their names. That's Evangelista, Campbell, Crawford, Claudia Schiffer, Turlington, and Nikki Taylor. And now among these supers, there was the Holy Trinity. And that was Evangelista, Campbell, and Turlington. They often walked together on some of the world's biggest stages. Evangelista received praise from every big name in the industry. Karl Lagerfeld called her the most famous of all and the best model in the world. Sozzani, editor-in-chief of Vogue Italia, said, "For me, she is the model, not only for her beauty, but her attitude, her intelligence." Stephen Meisel described Evangelista as extraordinarily photogenic. John Galliano wasn't left behind either. He said fashion has not been the same without her because she was the inspiration. Everybody wanted to know who this beauty was. As a result, she was featured in a 1995 fashion documentary, Unzipped. In 1996, she was featured again in the documentary Catwalk. In 1997, Vogue and American Able Television Network awarded her the industry's Lifetime Achievement. Evangelista was active throughout the 90s. Even as the supermodel era began to fade, she did not stop. In 2003, she received a star on Canada's Walk of Fame in Toronto. In 2009, she was featured in the New York Metropolitan Museum of Art, which was a showcase of the models who made the fashion industry in the 90s. Evangelista was still working with the world's biggest brands well into the 2010s, when she suddenly disappeared from the limelight. In 2021, she came out to reveal that she had a cosmetic surgery gone wrong, and it left her badly disfigured. Evangelista's dating profile has been highly publicized. In 1987, she got married to Gerald Marie, who was the head of elite model management in Paris. But they got divorced 6 years later. After that, Evangelista dated Kyle MacLachlan, whom she met while on a photo shoot in '92. They got engaged but later broke up in 1998. Evangelista also dated French football player Fabien Barthez, with whom she got pregnant. However, she miscarried 6 months into the pregnancy. The two were in an on-and-off relationship till they finally broke up in 2002. In 2012, Evangelista was in a highly publicized child support trial. Here's a little backstory. Evangelista gave birth back in 2006, but she had refused to reveal the father's identity. She was on the cover of Vogue while heavily pregnant. In 2011, that's when the world would find out the real identity of her son's father. It was billionaire Frenchman François-Henri Pinault. They had dated for 4 months between 2005 and 2006. Evangelista wanted $46,000 in monthly child support. So you see why it was highly hyped. If she had gotten this money, it would have been the highest support order granted in the history of family court. But unfortunately, we'll never know because the two agreed to an out-of-court settlement. In September 2021, Evangelista revealed that she had undergone a fat removal procedure with the company Cool Sculpting. But it went horribly wrong. So she did what anyone else in her situation would do. She sued them for a staggering $50,000 in damages for her lost income and emotional distress. The case was settled in 2022. Part of the reason Evangelista retired was a breast cancer diagnosis in 2018. She underwent chemotherapy and surgery, but the cancer came back in 2022. She went for the second round of chemotherapy, and hopefully she's fine. As a result, Evangelista is an activist for breast cancer and HIV and AIDS. She's highly vocal on these issues, and she wants to spread awareness as much as possible. She was one of the models on the Viva Glam campaign for the MAC AIDS Fund. Additionally, she supports Elton John's AIDS Foundation. Evangelista is also an ally for the LGBTQ community. Remember the comment about not waking up for less than $10,000 a day? Well, turns out it made its rounds. It has been printed on t-shirts, pillows, hoodies, you name it. This comment has been continually referenced in the media, 20 years after it was first made. That's the sort of cultural impact that Evangelista had. Evangelista herself said, "I saw a movie, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and there's a line in it where Brad Pitt says he won't get out of bed for less than $500,000. That's my line. Only now it's $500,000, and it's a man saying it." And this same quote is the reason modeling became a lucrative and glamorous career. By the end of the 80s, models were demanding more pay because, well, Evangelista said so. By the time the supermodel era was done, models were just as revered as Hollywood stars. Evangelista has had one of the longest and successful careers of any 90s model. She has made an outstanding impact on the industry. She paved the way so that the new generation of models can fully enjoy being a model. The fashion world loves her, and we cannot wait for the next time she makes an appearance or leaves us with her clever insights. Even at 60, Evangelista is still making heads turn. So is Evangelista the greatest model alive, or